फैन बंद कर दीजिए. Ready. Hello everyone. Welcome to Diademy IAS. In this session, we are going to discuss the previous year question. That means the 2025 UPSC English Literature Optional Trend Analysis and Discussion. So let's start the question paper. When we analyze the paper 1 and paper 2, paper 1 is comparatively easy. That means some of our students mentioned that the paper 1 is comparatively easy. Then we compare that the paper 2. It means mainly when I check the previous questions, when I check 2025 questions, I noticed that the both papers are equally easy. That means that the pattern of questions is slightly changed in paper 2. That's the only change I feel. But most of the questions in paper 1 and paper 2, UPSC followed the same method, that is the repetition of the concept, repetition of the pattern they asked in the previous years. That all these we can see in this previous question paper 2025. This year 2025 UPSC question, English Literature Optional. Now let's discuss about the question paper, and now we are discussing the paper 1. We know that actually the question paper has divided into different sections. Generally the section A normally include what? Literary movements. But when we analyze the paper 1 literary movement section, all questions are repeated. 100% we can say that all questions are purely repeated questions. When you check the 2024 question, 2023 question, 2022 question and all, we can see the same questions, the same language they followed, same pattern of words they followed. So this is what the literary movement part in paper 1 I want to share with you. And after that, in paper 2 section we will discuss in the next video, and that time also we will connect with this paper 1 literary movement and how the UPSC trend we can analyze and how it appeared in the paper 2 section as well. So let's discuss about the paper 1 section A first. The question was major literary development Renaissance. Major literary development in Renaissance period. So that is the question number, section 1. Section 1. Okay, so let's discuss about the section 1 part. Major literary development in Renaissance time. So what are the main points we can analyze in this section? That is mainly we can say that the major literary development of Renaissance time mainly came through the humanism and classical revival. So what are the main points we have to give in this question? Mainly, the important points we can give: humanism, classical revival. That means we have to mention with the example that Thomas More Utopia, then Erasmus literary influence, all these works we can mention. And what are the main other core concept we have to add in this answer? That is, the intellectual depth in English literature and English writing we can see in this period. And also the another important development of Renaissance time, that is sonnets, rise of sonnets. Rise of sonnets is another important point we have to give in this answer. And for that we have to give an example, Thomas Wyatt translation of Petrarch and Philip Sidney's work. All these we can mention to justify this point. And also the prime importance of these works and the rise of sonnets. That is, it is elevated the English poetry in that time. So that's another important point and concept we have to add in the first question. Okay, and another important concept we can add in this development of Renaissance, that is in English literature, that is, development of prose, flourishing of drama, all these we can mention with the example of Christopher Marlowe's Dr. Faustus and Hamlet, Othello, King Lear, all these plays we can give as an example. And the drama became the greatest artistic development in that time, and also the prose, that is prose became versatile. So all these concepts we can add in this answer. And another important impact in Renaissance development, that is printing press. So that we can also mention in this answer. And also, through the printing press, what happened? Through the printing press, the main development is through the printing press, that is democratization of the literature happened. Democratization of the literature happened in this time. So all these points you can mention in this answer, and we have to give some examples. Every answer we can give the relevant examples, like William Caxton work, Shakespeare's words and phrases we can give. So this is what the first question in section A. So it's a very, actually comparatively it's a repeated question, all are repeated question. So the next question we can discuss, representation of supernatural Elizabethan and Jacobean drama. So in English literature optional syllabus, we can see the syllabus starts with Renaissance time and end the literary movement, that is Victorian period. And Elizabethan, Jacobean, metaphysical poetry, like this is the order of the literary movement part in English literature syllabus. And here Elizabethan and Jacobean, actually this is a separate topic. And here UPSC asks as a combination of Elizabethan drama and Jacobean drama, that is, what are the supernatural elements in this time and how it reflected in the literary work. So let's discuss how can we write this answer. The answer, the structure is, in this section we have to give ghost. We have to give the very good introduction. After that we have to mention about ghost, witches, ghost, witches, then lot of magic, actually, the role of magic in literature, then prophecies, all these we have to give in this answer. That means I am giving the keyword only. So how to approach this answer? That's what I am, because you know that in the very short time, in this very short session, I can't explain the entire answer. So I am giving some clues about how to approach this question. And here we have to give a lot of examples also. That means, John's Webster, Duchess of Malfi, you have to give in this answer as an justifying point. And Shakespeare's, Macbeth, all these, in case of Jacobean drama. So we can compare Elizabethan drama and Jacobean drama and give an equal importance to both these answers. And another question in 2025 English literature optional was key characteristics that define metaphysical poetry. So this is a very important section, actually, the metaphysical poetry and John Donne. And the UPSC English literature optional syllabus connects with metaphysical poetry with the John Donne. And we already, we know that actually metaphysical part or metaphysical poetry is a literary movement, and also this literary movement connects with John Donne literary works. Actually in syllabus we have five poems from John Donne. And at the same time we can see the second part of the question, another question is also asked. That means the characteristic features of metaphysical concept in John Donne's poetry with the help of the prescribed poems, that is the help of the poems prescribed in syllabus. So the same question asked in the next level, next part that we will discuss. So here the characteristic features of metaphysical poetry. What are the main characteristic features of metaphysical poetry? Mainly, we have to focus on metaphysical conceits here. Metaphysical conceits. We can start the answer with metaphysical conceits. And here we can give the example of a valediction forbidding mourning by John Donne, and George Herbert work, that is, the Pule by George Herbert. All these we can mention in this answer. And another important core concept we have to give in this section is the intellectual and philosophical depth in this metaphysical concept. And the next part of the answer in this question number 3 or question number C, you can mention about the paradox, the role of paradox and irony in metaphysical poetry with the help of some examples. That is, mainly John Donne's The Canonization is the best example. The Canonization is in the syllabus. And in Canonization, the poet says that death is like a slave, and that is there are a lot of personification, irony, paradox, all we can see in that section. So we can give the example like John Donne's Flea and Canonization. All these you can include in this answer. And the next part of this same question, actually the next part of this this question, we can give the clarity about the other characteristic features, like the role of religious influence, allusions. All these you can mention in this answer. Okay, so here also you can mention about some key metaphysical poets, because the question is a common question. It's a general perspective question, not about a particular writer, particular author. So you have to mention about some famous metaphysical poets like John Donne, then George Herbert, Andrew Marvell, Henry Vaughan, Richard Crashaw. All these, the famous writers also we can mention with the example of their works. So this is what the question number C. And function of satire in mock epic. That was another question in this year. Functions of the satire in mock epic. Actually, we know that in mock epic, mainly satire is a main factor, and we have to explain this answer with how we can approach this answer. That's actually, exaggeration of triviality. That is the main concept we can give with the help of Alexander Pope. Rape of the Lock is the best example. And critique of social manners, vanity, then parody of epic conventions. All these are the main feature of the satire element in mock epic work. And we know that generally epic and mock epic starts with addressing or invocation of muse. Muse is the poetic inspiration, and all this concept generally in epic, and it also highlight in mock epic poetry to mock the epic conventional writing style. So all these you can give with the help of Rape of the Lock and The Shepherd's Week by the writer, I think The Shepherd's Week by John Gay. That is another important example also you can give. And the mock epic work is sometimes we can say that it is just like a moral satire, and that means the human weakness, vanity, pettiness, all these are also mentioned in the mock epic work. That also we can mention in this answer. Again, the best example is Alexander Pope, Rape of the Lock. So all these are the main points we have to give. I am giving the clue only. I repeat, I can't explain the full answer because we have a limited time only. So these are the main core concept you have to give in this answer with the relevant examples and lines and quotes. You will get a good score. So this is what another question. And next one is factors contributed to the emergence of novel as a literary form in 18th century. And this is another important literary movement in paper 1. That means in paper 1 syllabus starts with Renaissance and ends with Victorian period that we already discussed. And in this section we have a list of literary movements, that is Renaissance, Elizabethan period, Jacobean drama, metaphysical poetry, satire, epic, mock epic, rise of the novel, romantic period. All these are included in this literary movement paper 1. And this question is from rise of the novel in paper 1 literary movement, and mainly focused on the 18th century period. So that time you have that answer you have to give mainly the 18th century literary period, and with the help of some writers' name and their work, and example like Daniel Defoe, Samuel Richardson, all these Joseph Addison, all these this type of writers and their work you have to mention in the answer, and you have to split the answer based on the concept, important concepts like rise of the middle class, rise of the middle class, realism, individual experiences, all these concept you have to give. I'm giving some of the clue how to frame a beautiful answer. So this is what the first section A, that is mainly concentrating the literary movement in paper 1. Now let's discuss about the next question. Answer all of the following. Examine the theme of freedom with reference to Ariel, Caliban, characters in the play The Tempest. So this question is also a repeated question. The many times UPSC asked this question. So here Ariel spirit and Caliban's native inhabitant, that is the main core concept you have to give in this answer. And mainly Ariel represents the spiritual freedom, but the Caliban embodies the political and physical freedom, right? So the concept of freedom is highlighted in this question, the theme of freedom with reference to Ariel and Caliban. So here we have to give how the freedom, how freedom is depicted in this drama, and the key concept you have to give, that is Ariel's freedom, that is about to service and restoration. At the same time, Caliban's freedom is resistance to oppression. Okay, so these are the main concept we have to give in this section. Okay, so let's discuss the next question. Estimate John Donne as a metaphysical poet with reference to his poems prescribed. That we already discussed in the section A, that is the literary movement part. In literary movement part, we just discussed about metaphysical characteristics. So again UPSC asked in the second section of question, that is estimate John Donne as a metaphysical poet with reference to his poem prescribed. So there are 5 poems in UPSC syllabus: Canonization, Relic, Death Not Be Proud, To His Mistress Going to Bed. All these type of the different 5 important poems are there. So these poems we have to give. We have to give. So we have to give. Actually, the question is for 15 mark, and answer is 15 mark. So we have to concentrate on all these poems and how the poet explained the metaphysical. Actually, mainly we have to focus about metaphysical conceits in different poems. That means how, actually the best example is canonization, and also paradox, how paradox came in this different poem. That is canonization, lovers gain eternity through worldly love. That's actually, candles, dove, different conceits are there in canonization. And in Death Not Be Proud, how he explained the metaphysical conceit. That is, you have to give in the answer. And the Good Morrow, in the poem Good Morrow, how the poet gives these metaphysical elements. That is, the lover's soul compared to new worlds or hemispheres, Like then all these concepts you have to give with the help of some relevant lines from each. So you can split the 5 different paragraphs, and you can write about how the metaphysical conceit he, or how metaphysical concept he explains about in different poem, mainly concentrating the 5 poems prescribed in syllabus. And the next question was, what is the significance of Satan's journey through chaos in book 2 of Paradise Lost? Actually, we have 4 books in Paradise Lost, that is in syllabus. And this year, UPSC asked book 2 of Paradise Lost. So, we can concentrate on Satan's role in Paradise Lost and how Satan's journey through chaos explained. Mainly, we have to mention about the council again, the pandemonium. So the Paradise Lost book 1 ends with Satan arranged his followers to fight against God or heaven. And in the second section also, the book 2 is also there. And actually in syllabus we have book 1, book 2, book 4 and book 9. And in book 2 mainly we have to concentrate the answer on pandemonium and the gates of hell. Okay, mainly the concept, all these connected with gates of hell, entry into chaos. Then that means, that means the heroic pose of Satan and consequences of rebellion. All these areas we have to concentrate. So this is what the main concept we have to give in this answer. Actually, this answer is, you have to give in elaborate. This is a 15-marker question. And with the help of this, some relevant lines and context, we can easily write the answer. So let's discuss about the section 3 of the third part of the question paper. So the third part of the question paper, the questions mainly, UPSC asked, examine how the structure of the play King Lear with its interwoven plots contribute the overall thematic concern. That was the question in next part. That is, here mainly act 1, scene 1 we have to focus in the answer. And then subplot Gloucester also we have to focus. That is Gloucester, Edgar and Edmund, and all these we have to focus. And the rising action, that is, act 2, scene 2, rising action, all this concept we have to focus in our answer. And the influence, the question, the next part of the answer we have to write about, that is, the question is about how the plot and the structure influence the overall theme in this play. That means, madness, suffering, blindness and folly, and insight through suffering and moral growth. All these you can give in this answer. Okay, the next question in the section, that is, discuss the mock epic concept, enhance the humor and irony of the narrative in Rape of the Lock. So the same points we discussed in the previous section, that is the mock epic in literary movement part. So this part also is a repeated question, and here we can give the epic and opening statement of this, the epic and mock epic element of this particular work, and how humor, irony is depicted, and council of spirits, then epic sacrifice, all these we can give. Okay, then omens, prophecy, all these we can give in this section. The next, how does Wordsworth represents impact of childhood and innocence in the poem Odd Intimation of Immortality? Sorry. Okay. Here, this is from William Wordsworth, and UPSC asked an individual poem, that is Odd Intimation of Immortality. I'm sorry. Okay. So here we have to explain this answer with the help of Odd Intimation of Immortality, Actually, this poem starts with child is the father of man. That we know. I'm sorry. Okay. So here, how can we explain? How can we explain this answer? We can explain this answer with the help of some important keywords. The keywords are mainly the childhood as a sacred state that we have to give with the help of our birth is but a sleep and a forgetting, like that the beautiful line we can give. And visionary innocence, the next important keyword you can elaborate. And gradual loss of innocence, that means when we read in this poem, the poet compares his childhood and with his current state. So that's what we have to start as a beginning of this answer. Nostalgia, longing. So all these are the reflections we can see in this poem. So this is what you have to give in this answer. Consolation of maturity, spiritual touch of beauty, nature, and the relevance of childhood memory and childhood time. So all this we have to give in this section. The next part of this question paper we can see with reference to the characteristics of romantic poetry, assess Wordsworth as a romantic poet. So here we have 9 poems from William Wordsworth in syllabus. So here we have to give an answer based on the 9 poems at the same time how William Wordsworth is a romantic poet. So here we have to give the answer mainly focus on love of nature. The main characteristic of romantic poetry we have to give as equally we have to split the answer. One is the characteristics of romantic poetry and other is the question is why or assess Wordsworth as a romantic poet. So we can give equal importance. So that means what are the characteristic features of romantic poetry? That means love of nature, emotion over reason. All these concepts we can give. Common life and language, individualism and subjectivity, mystery and supernatural, meditative tone, then reflections of emotion, childhood memory. All these are the important features of romantic poetry. And next level of the question asked about assess William Wordsworth as a romantic poet. So mainly you have to portray about nature as alive. Actually, how he treats nature. William Wordsworth treats nature as a child sometimes, mother, guardian, nurse. So all these important poems we can the Tyndale Abbey and the odd intimation of immortality, then the prelude, all these works we can give as example. Michael, the solitary reaper, all these we can give the multiple example because this question is not a specific one. This question is a general question, so we can give the multiple example. Or Tyndale Abbey, Tyndale Abbey is in most of the case, Tyndale Abbey is the best number 1 example in almost all type of question relating with William Wordsworth and romantic poetry, because in Tyndale Abbey we can see all the features there, all the romantic poetry and all the features and characteristics we can see in this poem Tyndale Abbey. So in Tyndale Abbey is the best example we can give with the help of some relevant lines. Then next question was, how does the poet Tennyson reflects on emotional journey in the poem of In Memoriam? So that's also another important question here. So here mainly we have to focus on tone and mood of Alfred Tennyson. Actually the question is, how does poet Tennyson reflect his emotional journey? That is mainly focused on dark, sorrowful, disoriented, and personal anguish, then conflicted, uncertain. So like that, the different emotional reflections are there in this poem. And we have to explain about questioning God on faith and reflection of memory, struggle, nature and structure. All these we have to give as a keyword to elaborate a beautiful answer. Next question was, justify your views that the play Doll's House challenges traditional view on marriage and family. So this question also a repeated one. Every year we can see this type of question. That means sometimes UPSC asked about the title of Doll's House, the relevance of the title of Doll's House, and uh, in other case, role of marriage, role of, in I think, the multiple time UPSC asked about Doll's House as a feminist drama, like that, the different questions we can expect. And this year also, UPSC asked this question: justify your views on Doll's House challenging traditional views on marriage and family. So in this section, we can give the concept, the important concept we can give, like this: patriarchal authority, gender roles, that all these we can give. Okay, marriage as a duty, appearances, sacrifice. So all these are concepts we can give with the help of some relevant conversational sequences and with elaborate explanation. So this is what the structure we have to follow. Okay, in the next part of this question, generally in section B, we can see, this is section B. In section B of English Literature Optional every year, we can see that unseen poem section, and UPSC will give a poem randomly without any clue of the writer and the title. But the difference here, in this year, they have given the title of the poem, that is Myself. So this poem by Edgar Albert Gust. Okay, this poem by Albert Gust. So here, this poem, comparatively, when we compare with the previous year unseen poem, this poem is comparatively easy. And this poem mainly focuses on the theme like integrity, self-respect, then authenticity, so moral responsibility. All these are the main theme explained in this poem. So in the very first reading itself, we can easily get the theme of this poem. So comparatively, we can say that when we compare with the previous years in 2024 and 23, the 2025 unseen poem is comparatively easy. So here I have lived with myself. I want to be myself. I want to able to days to go. Was look myself straight in the eye. I don't want stand with the setting sun. I hate myself for thing I have done. I don't want to keep on closest shelf. A lot of secrets about myself, and fool myself and come and go into thinking no one else will ever know the kind of person I really am. I don't want to dress up myself in sham. I want to go out with my head erect. I want to deserve all men's respect. But here in the struggle for fame and wealth, I want to be able to like myself. I don't want to look at myself and know that I am bluster and bluff and empty show. I never can hide myself from me. I see what others may never see. I know what others may never know. I never can fool myself, and so whatever happens, I want to be self-respecting and conscience-free. Actually, it's a very, very easy unseen poem comparing with the previous years. And we have a lot of beautiful lines in this poem, and we can take this line to elaborate the beautiful answers. I don't want to dress myself up sham. It's actually a lot of beautiful lines are here, so we can take that line, to elaborate the poem, and we can get a lot of, we can take a lot of phrase and all this. So the main overall message of this poem is, the true character is measured by honesty with oneself. Not actually the theme, the main theme or the main message of this poem, that is, the character, the honesty, mainly based on how a person treats himself. That means how he is loyal to himself. Okay. And And also this poem says that one cannot escape from his conscience. And also this poem says that authentic living, that is, authentic living is more valuable than social approval. Actually, you need not to live for the social approval uh, for the good certificate for the society. So here, your self-conscious life and your life with an authentic character, that is relevant in this world. That's what the main theme of this poem. So comparatively, this poem is very easy, and we can easily solve, or we can easily write the answer as well. So these are the questions. These are the questions in paper 1, section A. And then section B starts with unseen poem. And like every year, the section B mainly includes novels, and the important questions are here, all are repeated. How does Sif use a satire in Gulliver's Travels? And next one, discuss Jane Austen's use of irony in Pride and Prejudice. And the third one is Tom Jones as a Bildungsroman novel. The repeated concept, Bildungsroman novel. This term, when we assess the previous year questions, Bildungsroman novel, they are applying this term in different novels. So when you prepare the novel section, please note this type of term, and how it applied in the different novel. Actually, the 7 novels in paper 1, and also in 7 novels in paper 2. So this is a common term UPSC generally ask in the different years. Okay, the next one, examine the concept of virtue constructed and challenged through the character Tom and Sophia in the novel Tom Jones. Analyze the novel Hard Times under the statement, it was the best time. Then consider the mill on the floors interrogates the theme of education, particularly relation to gender and class. And the last section, the theme of conflict between personal desire and social expectations manifest in, that is the mill on the floors. The elaborate role of social class played this life novel Tess of Dubawels. Then interpret the Mark Twain's portrayal of race and slavery reflects in the attitude of his time in the novel Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. So these are the questions in this year. So comparatively, we can say that when I notice the paper 1 is very easy questions. All the questions are repeated. All concepts are repeated. And including unseen poem. Every year, unseen poems generally very tough. But in this year, unseen poem is very easy. Very easy unseen poems. So these are the all about paper 1 in 2025 UPSC English Literature Optional. Thank you. Thank you so much. We will discuss the paper 2 in the next video. Thank you.